Today we are going to study the topic known as learning. From our childhood, we all start the process known as learning. Our life is full of learning process. That's why we say never stop learning, because life never stop teaching. All this is possible because of the learning process we go through. Since birth, we start learning many things. That is from our mother tongue, to the behavior, to the skills we go through, to the training we go through. All this is possible because we go through the process known as learning. Now, learning leads to change in behavior. Once we start learning certain new skills or certain new learnings, we all change our behavior because the old things are outdated and we come to a new things which will enhance our behavior in the organization and enhance our ability to do the work in a corrective way. It leads to practical as well as experimental things. Once you start learning, you start practicing new things, you start experimenting new things, which will lead to the new development of a new product in the organization. As well as it is a stable behavior also. Once we start gaining the new learnings, we start enhancing ourselves, and it is the stable behavior once we reach to the point known as maturation. Now we will talk about classical conditioning. Basically, this theory is given by the Russian scientist known as Ivan Pavlov and also known as Pavlovian theory. Now in this conditioning, we will see what experiment he does with his dog and what are the frequency and timing important for him. Now this theory was actually experiment done on the dog when he has trained his dog basically how to respond to a bell when it rings, and training was given to a dog accordingly. For example, he was training his dog whenever the bell rings, it is the time to have a food, and that was the frequency and the timing of the food. Until and unless the frequency is in the long duration, the dog was not responding to it because he knew that the time is not for the food. So the frequency plays an important role in this theory as well as the timing of the time. The next type of theory is operant conditioning, in which the consequences of behavior leads to change in the behavior, and here we will try to understand what are different consequences which leads to change in the behavior of an individual or an employee. The first under consequences are positive reinforcement. Under this, a manager praise or give a positive feedback to the employees for his high quality work. Now the another consequences is negative reinforcement. Here I would like to share you example, like all employees go through the cut-off timings whenever they are uploading a files or doing certain type of work, and in that they know if they are doing work on not time, they will have a word with the boss. To prevent that, they actually manage their timing in such a way so that they are not in a hustle or they do not have any mistake in the work they are performing. So the next form is punishment. Punishment means if an employee commits some mistake and for that he leads to a pay cut or something with his boss. So that leads to change in the behavior, that he will not repeat those mistakes again if the situation occurs. Next form is the extinction. Here the consequences are whenever we are sitting in a room, if we come out of the situation and we are rewarded for it, we will repeat those type of behavior again and again. But in case if we are not rewarded for our suggestion, we will not do it the same way as we are doing it before. Next type is social learning. Now social learning is also known as observational learning, in which an employee goes through learning process with the observation. We observe more and we learn more. And for example, we need to pay attention to each and every minute details. So while paying attention to each and every minute details, we are more alert and we learn more. Then comes the retention. Whatever attention we have paid in the learning process, we have to retain that stuff with ourselves and then reproduce it whenever the occurrence of that situation occurs. Okay, and then comes the reinforcement. Reinforcement is nothing but whenever an employee is newly hired, he is trained under the another employees and then provided the feedback for the same. That is known as reinforcement process. So social learning, actually observational learning, gives us benefit of learning through observation as well as learning through knowledge and skills. Today we are going to study another topic known as intelligence. When I talk about intelligent, we might have wondered that we call a person intelligent because he has unique type of thinking or he is very good in grasping things. For example, Arjuna was different from another students of Dronacharya because his determination and willpower never distracted him from the goal, and that leads to our intelligence, which was very good and effective for an unique. Now we will talk about emotional intelligence. When I talk about emotional intelligence, it means how well a person is able to handle himself as well as others in the organization. Apart from his technical skills, emotional intelligence plays a very important role in the organization because it deals with the communication with the other employees, understanding their motives and then motivating them. A person with high level of EQ is able to communicate well in the organization, understand the needs of the customers, understand the customer loyalty towards their brand, understand the customer satisfaction level, as well as coming out with the innovative idea because they understand the emotion feeling of the customers. The next form we are trying to learn is spiritual intelligence. Now you might be wondering why we are learning spirituality over here. Because spirituality helps us to understand the direction of the life. Spirituality shows whether we are going right or wrong in our human life, or we are into a stable mindset or no. Spirituality gives the direction of a good life. Spirituality is the inner voice, जिसे हम कहते हैं अंतर आत्मा की आवाज, and that is very important for a human being or the employee who is working in an cooperative world.